Please write down my why. Here's what I mean by my why. You need to get the mentality of being a defender before you get the physicality of being a defender. Here's what I mean by that. My grandfather, he was an incredible storyteller. He told me this story one time when he was probably like 60, I was probably like 10, and I never forgot it. So he said he was in Ireland when he was in the war. He actually fought in Germany, but he spent some time in Ireland. But he said he walked up to these three guys who were building a church. They were laying the foundation from this church, the biggest church that Dublin has ever seen. And they were just laying the foundation. They were literally just digging the first couple of holes. And there's these three employees who were literally just ditch diggers. Their job was to dig the hole and then they'd lay the foundation from there. My grandfather said he went to the first guy and he said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And the first guy said, "Me, I'm just digging a hole." He goes to the second guy. He says, "What are you doing?" And the second guy says, "Me, I'm just earning $10 an hour." And he goes to the third guy and he says, "Hey, what are you guys doing over here?" And he says, "Oh, me, I'm laying the foundation for the greatest church Ireland's ever gonna see. It's gonna be a masterpiece. And one day my kids and my kids' kids will come and see the work that their grandfather built. And I'm laying the foundation for that right now." And what stuck with me is that third person had a why and the other two didn't. And the person who has a why can get through almost any how. Defensively, you need to have a why.
More and more players are becoming more and more skilled and they're becoming positionless. They can all pass and shoot and dribble. We can't just defend the exact same way. Pat Riley picked one skill to work on in every single practice that he ever ran, and that is closeouts. Old school closeout, old school basketball is high hands and choppy feet, closing out that way, and you did it over and over and over again. That's going to get you beat today. That's going to get you scored on today because shooters are faster and better and taller, shooting from further than ever before. And at the highest levels, at the pro and top college level, shooters are taught that if they see a high hand, choppy foot closeout, they shoot it. And here's the dirty little secret. It doesn't even do what it's supposed to do. So I'm ripping on these high hand, choppy feet closeouts right now. You're like, "Yo, TC, what am I supposed to actually do then?" Here's what you're supposed to do. Sprint, stop. Sprint, stop. Let's see exactly what it looks like right now. Here, as we see on this closeout right now, we see you sprint and stop. There's no choppy feet. There's no high hands here. It's the same way that one would turn, just how they would hit a set of lines and they change direction. It's sprinting as fast as you can. You don't need to chop your feet up to slow down. Offensive players don't slow down a drive by chopping up their feet. They just sprint and stop. And when you make a change of direction, when you turn, it's usually a 1-2 plant with your feet, and we'll get to see this over and over again. And then that allows you to then move and channel that ball handler along their drive. Let's see another example here. Check this closeout right here. Jamal Murray, he has space to close on a shooter, Wesley Matthews. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like here as he sprints. 1 and 2. He just sprints and stops. Look, his hands aren't even high. You deter a shooter from shooting not by getting your hand above the ball, but by getting into their space, by being able to be close enough to tag them. That's how you stop a shooter. Once a good shooter gets the ball above their eyes, it doesn't matter. They're going to shoot at a very high clip, even if you put a hand up late. Let's continue to watch this play develop. He still gets his shot off, but that was enough of a contest, not because of high hands and choppy feet, but because of where he got from an airspace. He got into his airspace from a balanced defensive position, sprint and stop, balanced defensive position, not this high hand that makes you unbalanced, and that he was still able to raise his hand with the ball and contest it. You don't need to put your hands up high. When you put your hands up high on a closeout, you actually become less athletic and slower. Common question I get from coaches is like, "Oh, but what about a slow player trying to sprint stop?" Well, that slow player is going to get beat anyway. Why would a slow player make themselves slower by getting out of a good athletic stance? Let's continue to check this out. This is a beautiful sprint stop, especially on a shooter. Look at where Jamal Murray gets here on Kyle Korver. Let me move my face to the other side for everybody here so that you can see it. That's tagging the body of a shooter. So old school closeouts try to take away all three things, try to take away a contest shot and try to take away drives to both sides. You can't do that against modern offensive players. You got to pick two with a sprint stop. And the one thing you got to take away against modern offensive players is the shot, is the shot, is the shot. Now, of course, you're going to play some non-shooters sometimes, and your sprint stop's going to be shorter in that situation because you actually want to dare them to shoot. But we're talking about the modern offensive player at the highest levels. Modern offensive players can shoot the rock at all positions. You've got a sprint stop. Now here, oh, this is good. We see Michael Porter Jr. here. He's got a little bit of an old school closeout here. And so what am I saying when I say old school closeout? Well, one, he's very square to the ball handler. Old school, high hands, choppy feet, closeout, square up to the ball handler to try to take away everything. And you get your feet on the ground moving so you can move in any direction. You just can't do it. Offensive players are too fast. You can't hand check anymore. You cannot take these things away. And then he also is getting his weight kind of on his heels here and his weight backwards so that his jump is going to be late. You'll notice he's not close enough to tag the shooter, and so he doesn't actually deter the shot. Now, fortunately, this is a miss. He's 6'10", so that hand does probably get a little bit of a contest, but that's not taking away a shot, especially against the best shooters like a Dame Lillard and a Steph Curry. You're not taking away that shot. That's an old school closeout with a late reaction. It's about airspace. It's just sprint and get to the body. That forces a player off the line. So what's the goal here for you as a basketball player? Make them dribble. What's the goal of a sprint stop closeout? Get them to put the ball on the ground. How do you do it? We're giving you some examples, but you just got to figure it out. Get them to put the ball. There's another one. That's 2 sprint stops in a row. Marcus Smart coming from a trail defensive position. Let's watch it again. So we have a long closeout here by Kemba Walker. There's no high hands, choppy feet here. Watch his body. Boom. It's just run, bang, bang, and stop. Get into their body and stop. Marcus Smart way out of position here. He's not trying to take away the drive here. He's just trying to get him to bang, bang. Put the ball on the ground. And here's the trick. Take away 2 and then battle them for the 3rd. So the one thing you got to take away in modern basketball is the in rhythm, off the catch, open airspace 3. And then take away a drive. To what side? Well, maybe they're strong hand. Maybe you got a defensive system. That's what's great about this skill set is it fits into any defensive system that your coach wants you to run. If you want to force baseline, you want to force middle, you want to force weak, if it wants to be situational, it's great. All coaches have loaded up where they have help and where they want you to put the basketball. So you take away the shot and you take away anything where you don't have help, put them to the small side of the floor. Let's continue to see examples here. Oh, goody. Old school closeout in effect, folks. Check out the defender here. Chops the feet and doesn't even get high hands, but chops the feet right here because he's like, I don't want to get blown by. Well, you got a shooter, bro. Old school closeout's a recipe for made threes. And she doesn't even do a very good old school closeout here, but you see that she runs at her and kind of tries to chop her feet up a little bit. She has her high hands, but this is not a position. Look at this defensive position right here. This is trying to focus on getting high hands and contesting the shot as opposed to being low and faster and sprinting to the body. You have more of an impact on a shooter with a sprint stop than a high hands closeout.
As they give you your...
I hate choppy feet because it actually makes you susceptible to fakes. When you go with your choppy feet, you're in a position where you're reacting to the offensive player. And when you get against a great offensive player like a James Harden, from this choppy feet square stance, you got to react to anything because you're not taking away anything. So you got to react to a peek fake. You got to react to a rip to the right because you're not actually forcing the action. The best defenders play offense on defense. The best defenders play offense on defense. He's reacting. You can't react to a great player. You will get beat. And that old school closeout just makes you very reactive. Great sprint stop closeout. Check it out here. Danny Green, make him put it on the ground. And you're probably thinking, hey, but a lot of this is personnel based. A lot of this is situational. Yes, that's defensive IQ. And that's what these skills allow you to do. They allow you to have a better defensive IQ and to know who and when. But if all you do all the time and all you rep out is high hands, choppy feet, then you don't get to exercise your defensive IQ. This allows you to dictate with some defensive IQ. So we got Danny Green here. We're way out of position. Check out the footwork, sprint stop. There's no high hands, choppy feet there. We got to get him to put the ball on the ground, but we're putting him into help. Forcing a highly contested mid-range, which is a way better shot for our defense than what we all know a wide open off the catch 3 is. Some really good sprint stops here, especially on this baseline drive. We got to drift to the corner. We're way out of position. We see our defender here. There's no high hands, choppy feet. We just sprinted and stopped. It wasn't about the hands that forced the pass. It was about the airspace. Get there as fast as you can. Choppy feet is not the fastest way to get there. Now you know you are myth busted about the old school and the problem of high hands and choppy feet. It's going to limit you as a defender. It's going to give a good offensive player and a good offensive team too many options. Here's your 3 keys on your sprint stops. 1, sprint into a 1-2 stop, how you change direction when running a set of line. 2, get close enough to tag their body. It's about keeping the ball from getting above their eyes, not contesting it after it gets above their eyes. And 3, take away 2 things, battle for the third. Take away that shot. Take away a drive to whatever space your defense is trying to protect and get them to put it on the ground to give your defense a chance.